What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I am one of your co-hosts, Jesse Kazam.
And I just realized I haven't gotten you to crack in the intro in a while now, dude.
I've been
Remember
on
there was
it.
like a solid 6-month period where you couldn't get through the intro without giggling.
Not a
'cause
single time.
I'd be making funny faces.
You gotta up your game, brother.
I know. I just keep forgetting. My face, I guess it's a good thing my face by itself isn't
it
funny enough.
inherently funny
Yeah.
enough to laugh at? What's up, man? How you doing?
God, like I said, I am lay tired. I don't know why. I don't know why. I feel like last night was just like a weird night's sleep. I fell asleep too early, so then I got up. Oh, you know what? That's why. It's because I got up at like 3 a.m.
That's
and
the
was,
most
awake.
unhinged thing. I mean, I get it. You're like your sleep schedule is basically and only dictated by exhaustion. Like you
Yeah.
just work until you can't anymore and then go to sleep and then your body wakes up. So it's like
It wakes up exactly 4.5 or 5 hours
so
later.
it's like if you went to
ready to
bed
go.
at 9, you're waking up at 4. If you went to bed at 2 in the morning, you're waking up at 7. It's just you go to bed at such a weird time that you wake up at 3 in the morning. That's insanity.
Yeah. So I guess getting up early, doing a bunch of stuff. I, for the first time ever, busted open my my program and laptop and was doing a little tinkering with a few things.
Oh, nice.
That I'm sure I'll never finish, but yeah.
I feel you.
So
I feel you, dude. We freaking. Oh, we went out of town, dude. The first 9.5, 10-hour drive with the kids in the car. Holy cow. Yeah. We broke it up over 2 days. So we would leave, we left after dinner, and the hope was that they would fall asleep in the car and then we could cruise for a while. I don't mind driving into the night if the kids are asleep, but they were just so excited to go see Grandpa that they were just up until 11, which was out of
Is
control.
chloroform illegal to use on children? Because I would just sleep.
Yeah,
put them in the back.
Benadryl is basically chloroform for children.
Yeah. You have allergies? You sneeze?
Yeah.
Give them the Benadryl now. Give them the Benadryl now.
Yeah. We didn't do any of that. We just ripped it, and it was one of the experiences of all time. That's for sure. They ended up doing pretty good, all things considered. But the way there is one thing because you're starting a trip. But you know how always even if it's vacation, even if it's something you're pumped about, that last day you're like, I'm ready to be home.
Yeah.
Now you feel that feeling and know how to regulate it. Imagine trying to explain to a 3-year-old that's screaming, I want to go home, that we got 5 hours left, bud. We got 5 hours left, bud. I don't know how people did it before iPads. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, do you give them some kind of technology?
Yes.
And just tap away, kid.
Yes. We got this little mount for the iPad, so it sits in between the two headrests, and we can play a movie, and they can both watch it. Bro, we used to drive from Orlando to Pennsylvania, my family when I was a kid, and I had 2 brothers, so it's 3 of us for a 20-hour drive. I don't know, with no iPads, bro. I don't know how my parents didn't just drive the car off a cliff. That's insane. That's truly insane.
Or threats of violence.
Yeah, violence or threats of violence, probably.
The precursor to the iPad.
Yeah. Woof. Woof. But yeah, so I feel you. I'm exhausted too. It was a long weekend, but glad to be home.
Yeah, at least they aren't flat earthers.
That is true. At least my parents aren't flat earthers,
So what did we talk about last about?
So we talked about some of the people responding in that they a few of the guys basically they spent a cumulative of maybe 15 hours reacting to your video, but only made it 10 minutes in but I don't know anything past those few people. You talked to one, you hopped on his stream for a little bit. Anything past that I'm unaware of.
Yeah, no, I mean,
we talked about the pin of shame, which was so great.
Yeah. They tried to like debate me, and I was like, I'm not actually here to debate you guys. I don't like. I'm not. There's nothing about me and you guys that are gonna bring anything new to like physics. Sorry, I hate to break it to you, but you two guys or
Yeah.
like four guys that have a combined IQ in the double digits, and
Yeah.
me around the same thing, but probably at least at least as much as that. We're not going to be rewriting the physics textbooks today, so I'm not interested in debating.
Yep.
But yeah, they I think it might have been, so they did a second stream without me where they like continued that. I don't know if maybe
Okay.
that was the day after or if we had talked about that, but basically after about after about watching another 45 seconds,
Total.
like literally watching like another 45 seconds, they concluded I was 100%
Oh yeah.
hired. There's no way he could have done this himself. There's no way he would have done this himself.
Yeah.
And just calling me a bunch of names, saying how much of a rat liar I am. How I came on their show and lied right to their face, and tried to pretend that I was this objective middle blah blah. And I'm like, I never said that I didn't already have a side.
Yeah.
I just said I wasn't.
Such a like misunderstanding of what's happening. You literally in the beginning of the video was like, this isn't a debate. This is not a thing. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not the debate on whether the cure for pneumonia is medicine or drinking Clorox bleach.
Yeah.
There's no debate there. There's no, you weren't objective. You weren't, objective enough or unbiased enough. It's like, that's not a conversation you get unbiased about, like.
Yeah. They were under the impression, I forget exactly what I said, but it was basically along the lines of like, there's really 4 categories of people. There's like the people who are debating on the flat earth side, the people who are debating on the globe side, and then there's the audiences. And I said, I'm coming from this as I'm on the opposite side in the audience.
Yeah.
I have no like stake in the game in terms of the debates in front of I'm like, I want to give you guys the perspective of what it's like to be on the other side in the audience. We're the people you're trying to convert.
Yeah, true.
So that's what I was trying to explain, how I'm like, you guys aren't helping yourselves by doing all of the things you do, which they just like doubled and tripled down on. But so that whole thing, they accused me of lying, all that stuff. And then a couple days later, the one guy, so I don't know, in the intro, the guy who does the big bong rip.
Yeah.
So that guy, he goes on his stream a couple days later, and just it's totally unhinged. Like,
how could it not
getting
be?
everything completely wrong, and he's just going all over the place. In the video, watching little bits here and there. It's like he would seek to like. If there was a segment where it's like a discussion where it might be like 45 seconds of like back and forth, he'll go like 30% of the way in and then listen from there without any of the beginning. So he even got himself wrong. So there was a part where during the whole like montage about how bad they are at math, it was the whole, he claimed, the flat earther guy, he claimed that NASA says that space, the pressure in space on the moon is 10 to the negative 11 torr.
Okay.
And so the whole thing was that he thought that negative 11,
that's right,
to the power of negative 11,
would
he
be
thought that meant it was a negative number.
Yep.
But all that means is it's
You're
a decimal.
moving the decimal farther and farther and
11
farther.
zeros, basically. So there was just a back and forth about, he was like, do you think it means negative? He's like, that's what NASA's telling. He's like, no. Do you think it's negative? He's like, I don't know, man. What do you think? So
Yeah, I remember
um,
that.
now I had a label on the bottom of the screen that said 10 to the negative 11 equals, and then the 0.000000001, right? That was like sitting there saying like, this is what the number is. And then the moment at the end when he's like 10 to the negative 11 means it's a decimal. And then it's like, bing, it turns green. But the last thing he says, the flat earther says before is, well, then you tell me what the pressure of space is then, Red. The guy's name is Red.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's about when he started watching the clip, forgetting all of the context. So he hears, you tell me what the pressure of space is. And there's the label that's 10 to the negative 11 because the pressure in space is 10 to the negative 17, like deep space.
Yeah.
Around the moon, it's a negative 11.
Yeah.
He was talking about the moon, and then at the end, he says, you tell me the pressure of space. And he was like calling me a dishonest moron idiot for saying, he's like, 10 to the negative 11 is the pressure on the moon. He got it totally wrong. This guy's such an idiot. And it's like, you didn't watch it. Like,
it's comedy. It just writes itself. You know what I mean? It's unreal.
He thought he was owning me when he didn't realize that the entire clip is him looking like a dumbass, just objectively, right? Dumbass. And then tries to grill me for what was basically his up.
Yeah.
And then
classic.
So how far have you gotten into the video?
So not much farther than I was because I was gone all weekend. So I'm like 3 hours in.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I will just say this. It came to a part of the video where I make a few comparisons.
Yeah.
Between, not like it's a spoiler. It's not like it's
a
movie, but like,
wait, is the Earth flat? Spoiler alert.
Between basically the pseudoscientific conspiratorial mindset that is flat Earth with a whole bunch of other conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And I go through like layers of like this. It shares all these qualities with these, and they believe these conspiracy theories. It shares all the qualities with these and these conspiracy theories. And then also one of the kind of big binding factors is that the Jews are responsible for everything. That's what they believe, right? So after that, he cheekily tried to accuse me of being anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
As if I was the one saying that they were behind the thing I don't believe exists.
You're like, it's ridiculous that these people think the Jews did everything. And he's like, you just said the Jews? You must be anti-Semitic. And
and so when I'm talking about that at one point, I show one of the flat earthers, this young kid who's a mega douche, super big douche. His Twitter feed, his last like 10 tweets were all like, Hitler wasn't a bad guy.
Jesus Christ.
Like all of these things, like literally Holocaust denial.
Full Kanye.
Oh yeah. Like worse. And one of the tweets was, it's a meme, naturally, that is like, who wants to be a millionaire? And it's got the prototypical like caricature, the evil caricature of a Jew, right?
Yeah.
Like the disgusting cartoon character.
Yeah.
And it's 2 panels, and it's what is the cause of anti-Semitism, and it's like A, bigotry, B, blah blah blah. Well, C was Jewish behavior.
Oh,
and it shows
my
that
God.
And it shows that as the correct answer with the Jew like, oh. Now here's the beauty of it. Okay, so he says that I'm anti-Semitic. It gets to that part in the video. He pauses it. He's not looking at the screen because it's like a montage.
Yeah.
I zoom in, but I haven't zoomed in yet. And he says, well, everybody knows the real cause of anti-Semitism is Jewish behavior. Unironically said that before it, and then he never hit play to get to the, and it's like, holy.
That's some like
holy
brainwash, unreal.
Yeah, so
oh my God.
and they kept calling me, you shouldn't call yourself. Well, first of all, he's like, you don't know Latin, veritas. He kept, first of all, pronouncing it wrong, which was beautiful because he's saying I don't know Latin. So instead, he's like, you need to be called Decepio. I'm going to call you Decepio. And one of the parts in my video is how they have like infantilizing language for everything. That's how they like denigrate, is they just have nicknames for everything. Earth is a ball, vaccines are the
So
jab. They just have names for
you're
everything.
a
And I'm
Decepticon
Decepio.
is basically what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So it was, and then another one of the other guy who was on the panel that I talked to, not the panel, but like the Discord call or whatever. The guy that was, I want to say like a little bit nicer, that we've talked a little bit on Discord and stuff. And he kind of seemed like he was cool and reasonable. He's the one that actually invited me to play PUBG with him. I don't know if I told you that or not.
What?
He said he played PUBG. Yeah, I don't know. But he then sends me a message like the next day after that and was like, oh, I know now you're like a liar. Caught you in the lie.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
yeah.
You've lied about everything. It's so dishonest.
You are uninvited to my PUBG games.
And he's basically like, I wish the best for you, and don't take it personal, like the video series I'm about to make, like exposing why we think what we do about you people for the lies. And one of the lies was that I said I didn't have help with the documentary. I made it myself.
Yeah.
And he was like, but you publicly posted on Twitter that these guys helped you. And what I did was I thanked 6 people, I think, for their direct and indirect contributions.
Yeah.
Because H Bomber guy, Dan Olson,
for sure.
and Red's Rhetoric, they made content about Flat Earth that I watched that inspired me, but I never talked to them in my life.
Yep.
And then the 3 guys that I interviewed, MC Toon, Dave McKeegan, and Fight the Flat Earth, FTFE, because they came on my stream and talked with me for like 45 minutes or an hour each for like interviews that I didn't even really use much of anyway. Because it wasn't like the whole idea of me wanting to do the interviews. I didn't do it in a way that netted me usable material, really. Live and you learn. But so he says, you said the 3 of them helped you. And I said, no. An interview is not help.
No. Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody that's been interviewed in the documentary worked on the documentary.
Yeah.
No. So his conclusion was that the 3 of them fed me clips. That I'm totally dishonest. I'm totally colluding with them. All this stuff and totally off the rails. So yeah, at this point, I'm like,
incredible.
I basically think they're mentally ill.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk to them anymore.
Yeah. I'm waiting for like the Veritas hit piece, the whole like a 30-minute video about how dumb you are.
All we need is another.
Because that's all we needed was another subreddit thinking Veritas is the worst.
r/Flat Earth.
Oh, have you been in there? I'm sure it's been insane.
I don't even know if that exists.
It's got to, right? I'm sure it's been insane.
I know the Facebook groups. Oh my! I put the picture in my mod chat last night because like right before I got off stream, I noticed I got a notification that was like on Facebook saying, "Oh, here's a group you might be interested in," and it was Eric Dubé's Flat Earth thing, and he's one of the most Nazi, terrible, disgusting dudes. And I'm like, yeah, sweet. I'm deleting Facebook now forever.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild. That is some crazy shenanigans. Because I feel like if it would just serve, I mean, obviously at this point you don't want anything else, but if something like that would just serve to prove everything, just like with that pin of shame comment where you've laid it out so well that there's just nothing. Oh my God. That stuff, it just gets into my bones, man. I don't understand how people can get so far gone. I understand the first few steps. You know what I mean? Like we've said before, I understand looking around and thinking things don't make sense. I understand the
being dissatisfied with how fucked up
yeah,
things are, like all of that.
I understand.
Distrust in the government, like
I
I get
understand that
that.
exactly. I even understand the uncomfortable feeling of learning that the like scientific explanation of a thing doesn't match square peg square hole to like your perception, right? It's like, oh, that's interesting. It doesn't look like it that would intuitively work that way, but it does, and these people are telling me it does, and that makes me uncomfortable because I thought it was this way. Like I get all those things. That and I think, and you might even say this in the video, but that I can understand. Somebody who's like uncomfortable or questioning. What I don't get is how they just get so far down. You know what I mean? How
When
you
you watch the rest of it, I
yeah,
think you might
probably
see.
probably.
I had today uh a kind of a new version of that dude, I get surprised. I get surprised every time how this happens. Somebody who was chilling in the chat, agreeing with all the flat earth funny meme stuff, like haha, yeah, they're just so crazy, whatever. I've been watching videos about like evolution creationism debates and stuff about moon landing and all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And this dude was like, I was going through, actually it was what we talked about on the Patreon podcast a few weeks back,
Okay.
where I was talking about theism, Gnosticism,
Oh, yeah.
atheism, agnostic, and I did that. I gave that explanation yesterday, and because it was relevant to whatever we were talking about.
Yeah.
And this guy who's now banned in my chat
naturally
was like, hey, you should check out this video. It's like, it says exactly what you're saying right here. About like etymology and the words and whatever. He's like, I think you really like it. And I was like, huh, sounds really interesting. And it was like, the title seemed like it was going to be kind of a philosophy of science kind of thing. And I was like, huh, like, seems totally interesting. And then he kind of said a couple more times, hey, did you watch it? Hey, did you watch it? I'm like, no, okay. I ended up watching it. First of all, it's part 1 of 3, and it was 2.5 hours of a dude giving a lecture. Now, I can't complain about the length of videos.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
But and I already had red flags before like the credits were, the intro was done rolling.
Yeah.
Because it was like Matrix things coming down, and it was like, free your mind from the slavery of it. I'm like, this is not what I expected.
What is this?
I saw like Yale talk or whatever, and it was like, it's just like the name of the like hotel or something. Like it wasn't. It was in like a hotel room, back room with like 30 people in there.
Oh, no.
And the dude had like a weird, like he didn't look like a philosopher or a scientist, which I'm like, I'm not gonna judge someone based on what they're wearing, but it's one of those things that's like, okay, this isn't what I expected.
Yeah.
And it was just full of, so I finished part 1. It was 2 full hours where I swear to God, he said nothing.
Ugh.
For 2 hours, like it was, oh yeah, solipsism, it's like a religion and blah blah blah, and he was just saying a bunch of stuff, and he kept going into, here's a word, and then going into, and this is where I think the connection was, going into the etymology of the word. Solipsism is like your alone self.
Yeah,
all this stuff.
Yeah.
Thinking like the reason why like etymology, or like the origin of words, the reason why that's relevant typically in these contexts is because they give you an understanding for like what the word means in a way that might not be clear.
Yeah.
There's no reason for you to to provide the etymology for 5 minutes about a word where the etymology doesn't tell you what it means, but the definition that you have on screen does.
Yeah.
It's like, just say solipsism is the philosophical belief that nothing, truth can't, we can't have knowledge and whatever, right? Like,
Yep.
but you don't learn anything when it's self alone. What does that mean? You're depressed because you're sad and alone.
Yeah.
You're by yourself alone in a room. Like what? But he did this with like every word. It was, let me explain this, let me explain this, and it was just garbage techno babble talking about the spirit realm, and how just everything. There's conspiracy stuff and the energy frequency waves of the truth. Like nothing, right?
Yeah.
And the guy was like, it really disappoints me that you like don't have an open mind to this. Like you just judged. Oh, and there's one other relevant thing. The guy started off by saying, I'm going to say a bunch of things that are going to upset you.
The guy in the video?
The guy in the video. That was he went for 20 or 30 minutes repeating over and over again, basically, I'm going to say stuff that's going to upset you, but you need to like take it.
But trust
like
me.
Really really consider it and don't.
Yeah.
Which basically what he was doing was putting up a shield so that when he says a bunch of crazy dumb there's two types of people. There's the people that don't know how to process it and they're like, maybe this seems profound and interesting and whatever. And then there are people that are like, nonsense, right? And he can go, see, those people are afraid of the truth.
100%.
They don't want to. And then those other people are like, oh, right?
Yeah.
And to see the guy in chat be like, hey man, I wanted to show you the truth. It was kind of the whole like, hey man, Jesus wants to save you.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe. And it's like, he was unwilling to accept the possibility that what the guy was saying was pseudoscientific nonsense.
Yeah.
And that's why, and he's like, the reason why you're so upset, dude, is really telling. Like, you really need to like check. It's like, it's a brain.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like what's that YouTube channel? She's like a physicist, Angela Collier. We were talking about that on the Patreon episode, I think, where she was like, there's a problem with physics, and it was all linking to that same idea that like being open-minded and being in a position where I know that I can be proven wrong does not equal every single person on planet Earth gets a valid shot at whatever it is we're talking about, right?
Yep.
There's a difference, and that's counterproductive to just say, well, Terrence Howard says 1 × 1 = 2. You know what I mean? So he's a guy, he's a human, so we have to hear him out. Because then we would just never get anywhere. We would spend all of our time hearing everybody out, and we would come to the same conclusions. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then we gave that analogy where it's like, you wouldn't go, people think it's, Gordon Ramsay going up to Bobby Flay being like, well, you should try this, but that's not the level. It's, me walking up to Gordon Ramsay saying, what's great in the soup base? Windex. Like shouldn't be like, well, I should be open to everything. It's like, get out of my kitchen. You're not a chef. Please leave. You know what I mean? So,
and he's like, you're judging it so. I'm like, dude, I've watched, and I knew after 30 seconds, I'm like, because I had seen this before. I still, was like willing. There was potentially some genius here where what he was going to do was go through this whole rigmarole and be like, because what he did, what all these people do is they say these people are going to lie to you and they're going to manipulate you, and you need to be immune to that and blah, blah, blah. And then they go and instantly go and lie and manipulate.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just like unbelievable. How it's so blatantly obvious. And he's like, you just need to watch more, dude. You need, like, you're judging a book by its cover. You've only seen the first, and I'm like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And I'm like, the more I hear, the more I know I'm right.
Yeah.
Because he's just getting more and more and more crazy.
Yeah.
It's really, dude, it's like,
it's scary.
It's sad how like I can't see it any other way than just like pure delusions.
Yeah. And manipulation. And that's what's so scary about it, especially with like the advent of like freaking all this AI generative stuff. It's just like I think there's a name for the phenomenon, maybe there isn't, but there should be, which is just that we are so biased towards the information we get first.
Mm-hmm. It might be the no, not the recency bias.
Yeah,
Maybe.
something in that vein, right? But like something, but so that's what's dangerous. There's a whole lot none of us know. There's a whole lot that like 99.99999% of humans don't need to know to live our lives. There's just
Yeah.
like so much information that we have right now. And if there was just a book with all the information in the world, you could just peruse it and be like, oh, this random ingredient that's in Diet Coke, nobody knows how to pronounce it, nobody knows what it is, nobody's ever heard of it before. If I tweet that causes cancer, first thing all the people associate with is that and cancer, it's in Diet Coke, boom. And now scientists have to spend years walking that back and being like, nope, it's very clearly studied. We know about this very well. You don't need to know about this thing, but now you do know about it. And somebody said it causes cancer. We know it doesn't cause cancer. And it's like, it's just, if you want to manipulate people and subsequently make money, either by selling a product that fixes a problem that doesn't exist or getting views on YouTube, you just find some niche random ass knowledge, lie about it, and say that, like you said, they're going to manipulate, like those two things, that they are going to manipulate you into thinking this, and they are hiding the truth from you. Now, we talk about it all the time in chat. If somebody's like, you seem really defensive, there's no way to respond to that without seeming defensive. No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
So if I say they're trying to lie to you and you say, no, I'm not, that's what a liar would say. It's just...
It's unfalsifiable.
Yeah.
It's a thing that yeah.
And they got to you first. And so you believe it.
Yeah, and see, here's the problem. What makes it worse is that like MK Ultra was a thing. And some companies have lobbied for keeping chemicals that like the cigarette manufacturers for the longest time, right? Like, so there
the
are
times
saying aren't implausible.
Correct.
And they have happened. It's just it's not the rule, they are the exception.
Exactly.
But they see it as the rule, constantly.
And it's not even that like you have to immediately hear information and then automatically assign, is this a rule or is this the exception? It's what we do with the information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's interesting. If it's something important to me or something that really piques my interest, where would I go to learn more about this subject? Where would I go to figure out if this is true or not? Where would I go to learn more about this person or thing that gave me this information to see how credible they are? You don't have to, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
But when you only accept the things that support your worldview, and when you reject all mainstream sources by default,
which is
then all you're gonna get it from is like Twitter and like the dark web.
That's the black hole. That's the event horizon. When any group of people can convince you that the they in this is everyone. It's the world government. It's every news source. Like when they can convince you that the they is capital T, it's that big, you've passed the event horizon. Like nothing. We've talked about this before. Nothing can, like, you can't even define what could pull you out. Like you can't even chart a path to like there is, you're past it. And now you're just sucked in, and you're not alone, and that's what's most dangerous. You cross that event horizon, and you enter a whole group of people on these weird subreddits and deep
that make you feel good for the first time,
and it's game over. It's GG's. It's rough.
Yeah, man. And honestly, it's something that it's one thing watching it. It's another thing interacting directly with it, and then it's another thing being accused as being a part of it.
Yes, for sure. I can get that.
It really is the depths of like, it's like I feel like I'm watching people drinking the cyanide Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
in slow motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. And the best part, this will be the last thing. The best part is how, like, in Terrence Howard's manifesto, he talks about how like Tesla and all these pseudoscientists were like martyred by science and blah 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 and all this stuff. And then he goes on to say, you know, as stupid and as absurd as the flat earth belief is, and then you have the flat earthers are like, and you Tesla and all these other pseudoscientists were martyred, and that's why you believe us. And it's like, you guys don't believe each other, and you're making the same arguments.
Yeah.
I want to put them in the same room.
Exactly, dude. We've talked about that. You and me have talked about that in many contexts, even just in like gaming or Tarkov. It's like, who you disagree with is a much stronger like bond maker than who you agree with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people that abhor each other can build strong familial bonds because they both abhor this guy more. You know what I mean? People that disagree with each other on so many fundamental levels can just agree to hate this person. And it's so weird because it's like, you guys talk to each other. You know what I mean? Like, you guys disagree on everything. Yeah, it's wild. It is wild. Well, I see the video is doing good. We're already up to almost 200K views in 9 days. I hope it just stays.
It started to flatten a little bit.
Yeah.
And then kind of started to go up a little bit. I think at this point, the Billy video was doing better.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think the Billy video was at like 200. So like now the Flat Earth video is number 2.
Yeah.
Of 10. It was number 1 of 10 for the first like 10 hours.
Yeah.
But now it's 2 of 10.
Yeah.
But
yeah, dude, with stuff like this, you never know how it keeps rolling. So,
yeah.
But we do have some gaming news, some Tarkov related stuff. But before we do, I do want to take a quick second and thank the first sponsor of this episode, and that is Factor. Summer is here. You can fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in time for summer thanks to the menu of chef-created meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. We've worked with Factor before. We love them. It's awesome having ready-to-eat meals. You literally, all you have to do is heat them up. If I'm working, if I'm gaming, if I'm streaming, if I'm doing something, having something super simple. And then the big thing for me in all of this is always like the customizability. Is that a word? I think it is. In your ability to just do whatever. Like I said, you can do Calorie Smart if you're really looking to like hit your calorie goal, Protein Plus, Keto, whatever whatever you're going for, you can do. You can choose how many meals you want per week. You can skip a week if you want. It's like completely customizable and delicious food.
I just had me the chicken taco bowl tonight.
Oh,
the chicken, the nice corn salsa.
Yep.
Rice. It's like I still unfortunately don't get to eat healthy as much as I want to, and it's sometimes, you know, Factor is the only thing that keeps me not from eating beefaroni and Go-Gurt, you know, for my entire diet.
Oh, heck yeah.
And it genuinely, I feel so much better. I would be sleeping right now if I hadn't had that meal.
Yeah.
I think.
No, absolutely. So it's awesome. There's over 35 different meals you can choose from and more than 60 add-ons. The add-ons, they have all sorts of stuff. There's like desserts, there's smoothies, there's like little like wellness shot things. So tons of different add-ons that you can do. Once again, fully customizable. They even have breakfast that you can choose. All sorts of stuff. It makes cooking simple, quick. You don't have to worry about it. You can get all this chef-prepared stuff. You can choose filet mignon, shrimp, blackened salmon, all the way down to some super simple breakfast. Once again, options are limitless. It's nice. You can head to factormeals.com/podcast50 and use code podcast50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code podcast50 at factormeals.com/podcast50. 50% off your first box and 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Thank you so much to Factor for sponsoring this episode.
Oh my God, strawberry cobbler pancakes. Oh my God.
Strawberry cobbler pancakes. Come on.
Oh my God, I'm full and I'm hungry.
Yes, immediately. Immediately. Okay, so
I had somebody come into chat
okay,
yesterday, I believe,
okay.
saying, bro, you really have to play Tarkov. It's exactly like what you said in your like Tarkov, make Tarkov great again. You know, like it's like the old days. It's so great. It's amazing, dude.
When did that happen?
I think it was yesterday. It could have been today.
It should have been today because yesterday would be crazy. Unless that guy hasn't played Tarkov in like 2 years, then maybe like the recoil changes and stuff. He'd be like, whoa. Okay, so we got a few things. First, we should talk about. So we talked a little bit last week about them linking Arena to Tarkov, right? Oh yeah, because it was claim place no less than 2 times without dying 18 times in team fight. You know what I mean? So yeah, so they linked Arena to Tarkov. They added the new trader ref. I've been doing some of the quests for them. They're kind of whatever. I got to the point where the quests are to go and do stuff in Arena, and I stopped. Like in Tarkov, the quest for the trader ref, in order to level him up if I want to, I have to now go win a ranked match in Arena, and then it's like win 3 ranked matches, and then it's like win 3 ranked matches in a row, and then it's like get first place in a team fight 3 times. There's like 7 of these quests that are all Arena related. So they're not dailies or weeklies in Arena. They're quests for ref in Tarkov. So you launch Tarkov, accept the quest, close Tarkov, open Arena.
What if you don't own Arena?
Oh, you just can't level up ref. No.
But do you still get it? That would trigger me, dude. If it was like quests I couldn't get rid of.
Probably.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. That's the best way to put it. Play Arena until these random conditions are fulfilled automatically. Is absolutely. So then you have to launch Arena. Then you go play my ranked match. If I win that ranked match, I have to close Arena, then open Tarkov, then complete that quest, then accept the next quest, which is win 3 ranked matches in Arena. Then I have to close Tarkov. Then I have to launch Arena. Then I have to win my 3. It's like, we've talked about this before. I wish it was just like one game, Like I wish I could rip an Arena match. So I would rip Arena matches instead of scavving. Like if I died, but my 3-man is still in a raid.
Yeah.
Like I would hop into a team fight, an unranked team fight. You know what I mean? And then in this situation, it's like I could accept this quest and then just go complete it. Or if that's obviously too technically hard to do, it would just be cool if I could accept these quests and turn them in Arena. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that's not how it is. So, but we have had people get some of the new keys to the new rooms. Like they locked some of the rooms. And
those are the ones that, do you have to buy them a GP?
Well,
coin?
no. So those keys you have to buy with Lega coins.
Oh,
and those Lega coins you get, from doing dailies and weeklies. So like Axel grinded his dailies until he got a daily that was like, here, this is the reward. It's a Lega coin. Then he went over to Tarkov, bought one of the keys and went, and it was cool. It was like, it had a few treasure spawns, but it also had like an RSAS with like a 12x scope on it. And like a few other things. It was like, the room was pretty cool. So, I mean, that's something we've been asking for a long time, like loot rooms. Right now, there are 2 types of rooms, locked rooms. There are rooms with nothing in them and rooms with treasure spawns. Those are the 2 types of locked rooms, right? There's no locked room you're running to hopefully get ammo. There's no locked room you're running to hopefully get armor, to hopefully get guns, to hopefully get attachments. Kiba would be the exception to that. By the way, Kiba is better than it's ever been. Like, it is in the best state it has ever been.
It always should have been, because it's
I
a
know.
fucking death trap.
It's so exactly. You have to hit the power. You have to have 2 keys. You set off an alarm, and you're right in the middle of them all. It should be a great room, and it is now because they added like 14 spawns for like armor plates. So like you can get
Nice.
class 6 plates in there, class 5 plates in there. The armors are spawning more on the mannequins. I found a slick in there the other day. Helmets. Like you can open it up, and there could be 11 guns hanging on the wall. AVTs, MCXs, MP7s, vectors, spears.
Are they all like built a little bit?
Most of them. Sometimes you can get like a stock AK-12. Sometimes you can get like a juiced up AK-12. Sometimes you get the stock AK-101. Sometimes you get the Reap IR AK-101. But it's awesome. Like Kiba is the exception when we're talking about keys. Kiba's in the best state it's ever been in. It's fun running interchange for just doing Kiba runs. Like it's cool loot. You're always getting into fights. Yeah, it's fun. Kiba's fun. Anyways, other than that, I wish there was more reasons to hit keys other than treasure. And when I saw the Axel's clip where he opened that up and there was like an RSAS there, I was like, okay, that's kind of sick. So, what was I saying? Oh, so Arena linked with Tarkov. I don't know. Once again, I still hold the same opinion, which is I want so badly Arena to succeed. I want it to succeed. I want it to be good. I played one singular round, and that was enough for me to remind me why I have an absolute zero desire to play it. There are a bunch of people that were like, dude, I'm having fun in Arena. Awesome. Let me actually find, because there is actually a potential for Arena to be like a really good amount of XP. I know it was Nolan that tweeted it. What did he say? He said something along the lines of like, I bought a new account, like a new Tarkov account or something, or maybe he had an alt. He had a new Tarkov account and a new Arena account that were linked. And he was like, I basically just grinded Arena for like 9 hours and then hopped into Tarkov to see what my level would be. Because he was basically just trying to figure out like how much XP per hour, like how efficient is this? And after
what do you know his level? Is it the same level?
Yeah, they're linked now. They're synced.
Yeah, okay.
So I can't find the tweets. Damn it. Anyways, it was something like that. It was like 9 hours of grinding Arena, and he hopped into Tarkov, and he was level 17, and he had mostly level 2 traders, or at least a high enough level to have level 2 traders, and a pretty decent cash stack, because they increase the amount of money you can send per day. It used to be 1 million, or actually it used to be 500,000. Now it's 1 million from that to that. So all that being said, people are like, dude, I'm having fun in Arena. That is awesome. Some people are like, dude, when the wipe hits, I'm just going to grind Arena because I can't lose money. I can't lose kits, but I'm going to be generating XP. I'm going to be generating money, and then I can hop into Tarkov, level 15, have the flea market, and have a nice little cash stack. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. Like, live your best life. I actually think that's kind of cool. But for me, it's just, I hope that some of these changes that are coming, the asymmetrical game modes, the preset rework, I hope that does a little bit more to make Arena more fun for me. But live your best life. I hope that you are enjoying Arena. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. Huh. I don't know. I feel like I have to think about like what's good, what's bad.
Yeah.
About that. It's like a complicated thing. I guess what I wonder is if the new wipe feeling, which is like the best part of the game.
Yeah.
If that means that lots of people won't experience that, A, on one hand, and then also like B, if all the other people that are playing,
Yeah.
if like half the people are playing arena, half the will that change the experience? Will it be more dead, or maybe it'll
Yeah,
be
yeah.
better? I can see it. I can see it going either way. I can
Same.
see it. Yeah. So I don't know. It's I just went through like 75 like
For sure.
things in my head. I'm like good, bad, good, bad,
Yeah,
good.
and I'm there with you, and I'm not too worried about it, because if you grinded arena nonstop for like a month and hopped into Tarkov and you were level 40, you're still only at maybe max level 2 traders, right? Because
You get the flea market.
yeah, you get the flea market, but you have to do quests to level up the traders. And all of the good ammo and all of the good plates and all the good stuff is still, you can't buy it from the flea market. And the found and raid system is still in, so you can't buy your way through your quests. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's nothing. If you hopped into your first day of Tarkov at level 40 with 30 million rubles, all from your grinding arena, your wipe would be easier. But what I'm not worried about people like skipping through content, because then that guy would have to go to customs and find the pocket watch with an AK and a few attachments, right? He'd have a bunch of money, but he can't buy a meta AK from doing that. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess he could buy some attachments from the flea market, but he'd be sharp, buying, paying out the butt taxes for it. I don't know. So I generally am on the side of like, hey, more options for people at the start of the wipe is more better. Like if you find more joy in hopping into arena, or if you use that to warm up for a few hours and you're generating a little bit of cash, or maybe you split your time, maybe during the week you only have 2 hours. Maybe during the week you only have like an hour a night to play. You play arena all week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday, you game with the boys for a few hours and you've generated some money. So you hop into your Tarkov account on the weekend and you made a little bit of money and you leveled up a little bit. Like,
yeah,
more choices. You know, we've talked about this and we'll talk about it again, because I think a few other conversations circle around to this. But it's like, more choices is more better. There are enough people interested in Tarkov, I think, to fill it all up if the games are fun and function. You know what I mean? Like we've hit like
you don't say.
We've hit like 3, 4, 500,000 concurrent players on wipe days before. There have been hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people watching on drops. It's like people watch on drops because they want the thing in game. So presumably they have the game and want to play the game with the stuff they're getting from drops. So there are enough people interested in Tarkov. If arena kills Tarkov raids in the beginning of the wipe, that is a failure of Tarkov, not of arena. Because there are enough people interested, but the game can't hold those people. And so is it really arena's fault? I would say no. So I think more choices is more better. But for me, and I think for a lot of other people, even casual, people that play casually in the chat are just like, I just can't get behind arena right now. Like I want to. And I genuinely do, right? There's lots of things that I dislike about the current arena experience. Obviously the audio and the netcode are a big part of them. But the other part is, I've got an account with 200 million rubles. I hopped onto arena. My daily was, kill 5 people with an assault kit. When the last time I had played arena, I hadn't unlocked any assault kits. So my assault kit is like a 366 Vepr with EKO rounds, a class 3 armor that's half durability, and a kiver, and I can't hear. And so that custom preset system that they were talking about, like that's what I'm waiting for. Because it's like, what am I doing? What am I doing in arena with the 366 Vepr and no buttstock when I can just go play Tarkov and I have 200 million rubles? So like, yes, the netcode and yes, the audio in arena, I hope they continue to fix, but I genuinely am excited for like the preset customization and some of these changes, because that's a huge part of it for me. I was like, what am I doing? I don't want to use this gun. I don't want to use this gear. I don't want to use armor that's 50% durability. I don't want to use GSSHs. I hate GSSHs. You know what I mean? There's that friction of I have choice, but I'm choosing between so many options. I don't want to use any of this. And if you gave me like, you know, I'm not saying that I'm not saying Arena should be this way, but wouldn't this be interesting if it was like a buy system like CSGO or Valorant or whatever, but it was like I had 100,000 rubles to buy whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
if I had 100,000 rubles, I wouldn't buy a gun and a optic and headphones and armor that's half durability.
You get to choose like 2 things that are good.
I would buy gun with decent ammo, a decent optic, and no armor, no helmet, decent ears. Like I would take that 100,000 and I would apply it. So I'm not even saying, and I'm trying to get ahead of the comments here. I'm not even saying Jesse only wants to play Arena if I can use meta gear. I would actually be really fascinated to play Arena with mid to low tier gear. I would just like to assign where the value goes. I'd rather Sorden's no armor, no helmet, and a decent optic than half busted class 3 armor, a helmet that covers my ears, and EKO rounds. You know what I mean? So,
have you ever been to Golden Corral?
Yes, one time in my life, actually. I've been to Golden Corral.
Imagine if when you went to Golden Corral, you had 4 choices, and it was 5 random things from the buffet.
Yeah.
Unconnected to each other, right? It's like, if I'm gonna go to Golden Corral, the best you can do is let me choose what the I want. But instead, I need like the onion rings, egg foo young,
shrimp,
shrimp, and like Superman flavored ice cream.
Yep.
It's like, I don't think I want that one. It's like chicken fingers,
exactly,
with like some disgusting salsa.
I would rather pick 3 things from Golden Corral than get 5 things for free, 5 random things. And I think that's the thing. When I talk about this, a lot of people misunderstand. They think I only want to play Arena with meta gear. It really isn't that. It's I would like to choose what gear I use. You know what I mean? And then if we all have the same bank of gear to choose from, you might pick differently than I do, and we can get some of that varied stuff, but I don't feel like I'm being forced to just use top to bottom stuff I don't like, I don't want to use. You know what I mean? So that side of it, the actual experience side of it, you know, separate from the netcode and the audio, which I hope that they work on, that's the kind of stuff I'm excited for. There's a universe where they launched that update. Because their words, they're saying it's a complete rework of the preset system and adding custom presets. There's a universe where that comes in. It's relatively, you know, well thought out, and my whole tune changes, and I'm like, oh, this is actually perfect. Like hopping back and forth between Arena, or it's fun, or I might play Arena a little bit to grind some money for Tarkov. Like if the game is fun, that changes this formula, because right now what I'm judging is, how much does this in-game reward compel me to do something I don't want to do? That in-game reward has to be really good because I don't want to do this. But if you don't change this in-game reward because you don't want to make it OP, but you make this task more fun, then this reward doesn't have to be crazy because I kind of want to do this anyway. And so, you know, so that it changes the formula if this stuff comes into the game and genuinely makes it a more enjoyable experience, which I very much so hope that it does. So we'll see. They're working on it, and we'll see how that goes. The other thing is the PC game show happened this week, and Tarkov released a trailer there, and I think I don't know that I have all the details of this correct, so you know, grain of salt here, but I think there was a little bit of a mix-up where I think originally this trailer was supposed to be the 1.0 trailer for the game. And I don't think they altered the trailer at all, but I think they changed the name of it last minute, because you know how like people will give trailers to IGN and then IGN will post them? IGN and the BSG channel both posted the same video at the same time, but IGN's trailer, the title was Escape from Tarkov 1.0 trailer. I don't know if it still is. And then I heard I heard that there was like in the description, yeah, they changed it to Edge of Darkness trailer. I also heard that in the description of the BSG one that went live, there was also a reference to 1.0, and that was changed as well. So I think they filmed this trailer and they were like, dude, at PC Game Show, we're going to launch the trailer for 1.0, but then something happened, but they wanted to release the trailer anyway, and they just changed the name, but it kind of slipped out anyway.
Yeah, 1.0 trailer, Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah.
The new, oh my god, and then Reddit. The new trailer is meant to be the 1.0 trailer, apparently.
Yeah.
All the speculation and oh my
Still
god.
says 1.0 in the description on the IGN one. So it's kind of speculative, but that was interesting. Now, that trailer was interesting because it showed a lot of Arena. It showed a lot of Tarkov. It showed the mortar strikes. So it showed like dudes running, on Shoreline, where we all thought Terminal is going to be. Down in the bottom corner, there's that big gate with the towers. It showed a bunch of people running that way and mortars hitting the ground. Okay. It showed a cutscene. Yeah. It showed a cutscene of somebody standing on Shoreline looking at that wall and a big giant crane on the other side of the wall falling over, crashing down into someone. It looked like a straight up QuickTime event, or like a cutscene, like a proper cutscene, which was fascinating. And
like a Prapor cutscene?
A Prapor cutscene. No, the Prapor cutscene came at the end, because at the end of the trailer, they actually showed Prapor physicalized at his desk talking to you.
Was it like an not CGI?
No, correct. No, it was CGI. It was like the in-game that they teased. They've teased him a bunch of times. You know what I mean?
Prapor NASA footage.
He's typing on his computer, and then he turns over in his desk and he looks at you and he says something in Russian. But so it felt very 1.0-y, right? We're seeing cutscenes, we're seeing some of the mortar strikes, we're seeing in-game traders. They showed some map-to-map travel. They showed a lot of Arena. So that's what also led me to believe it kind of really was the 1.0 trailer, because it kind of felt like one.
What would you do if, like, a month from now they're like, wipe 1.0, we added mortar strikes and like 4 new quests, and now we're gonna go work on Russia 2028.
Dude.
What would you be like, relieved, or would you be like, what the like? I need to know how Jesse would feel about that.
Probably a little bit of both. The nightmare would be over. We would be at the end. But I mean, I would be like, what the hell? Because there's so much that we're supposed to have in the game. I don't know. I don't feel any particular way about 1.0 anymore, because 1.0, like, if you're not you personally, Veritas, but if your expectation for 1.0 is anything other than the game we have now with 3 more features, 1 more map, and maybe 20 new quests that are like have cutscenes and stuff, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, they will not fix the audio by 1.0. They will not fix the netcode by 1.0. They will not get rid of cheaters by 1.0. They will not fix the economy by 1.0. Like, they are seemingly in a dead sprint to squish the last few features into the game, slap that big fat 1.0 label on it, and then just continue working on optimizing the game, expanding the maps, adding the DLC, and then probably split a team off to start working on another game. Like, you know what I mean? That is what I truly believe is happening. And so whenever that day comes where they say, this is it, this is the patch that's 1.0, I feel like my expectations won't be let down too much, because I'm just expecting basically a regular wipe, where one day it just gets called 1.0. Like, I think it'll be like a slightly above average wipe. We get like a slightly more than normal slightly more than normal features, and it'll just say 1.0. And I think that's going to be a rude awakening for a lot of people, but and it would have been a rude awakening for me, right? Like, cut to Jesse 2 years ago. You knew I was so bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. I defended every single thing they did. I was so confident they were going to, but that's where I'm at now, is like, I think that's what's going to happen, and my expectations aren't too high for it. So
One of us.
One of us. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they freaking knock it out of the park. I hope that we get to Unity 2097 and it's perfect and AI fixes the cheating problem and they fix the economy. I hope. But, Lamau. Okay. So there is some more stuff. We got some more patches. We got some more genuinely interesting stuff to talk about. But before we do, I do want to take a quick second. See you dead, Sanka.
What's your primary language,
dead, Sanka. Speaking of which, take a second to thank the second sponsor for this episode, and that is Babbel. The best way to learn a language is immersion, living where the language is spoken and used every day. But that might not be the easiest thing to do for everyone. And if you want to, you can still learn a language the second best way, and that is through Babbel. Babbel is an app. It is really, really cool. It has tons of lessons. Those lessons are highly engineered to be very conversational, to be the actual things that you need to learn to get into conversations, because then that is the best way to learn, is to speak with people and converse with people, not just the child is driving the red car. You know what I mean? And so with that in mind, they craft these lessons, which creates a really cool and fun learning experience so that you can get in and actually start conversing with people and learning a second language.
Yeah, I don't think I ever told you the story of on the cruise. Went on a cruise, my whole family, and I remember being down in Mexico and going through all the shops there, and I spoke just enough Spanish to be able to, I mean, most of them speak English anyway.
Yeah.
But I had so much more success. We were doing like some heckling for like some jewelry for my grandmother and like all these little trinkets here and there. And that was one of the few times I ever felt comfortable enough to actually like speak another language. And it's the greatest thing. It's the greatest thing, dude, being able to communicate with people. They love it.
Yep.
They love it because everyone else around the world, they all speak English and, one or two other languages.
Yep.
And they just, how much camaraderie and respect and enjoyment and laughs and stuff you get
for sure
when you just give it a try. Learning another language is one of the greatest skills that any of us can learn.
For sure. Man. And like, I've always just seen that as such a cool accomplishment. You know what I mean? To be able to, we talk a lot on this podcast, we talk a lot on the Patreon, and I think both pride ourselves on our ability to communicate our thoughts. And so I've always just found it so fascinating applying that to just like a whole new language, a whole new way of doing that, of expressing ourselves. And then, there's just so many people around the world that speak so many different languages. So I've always found that to be fascinating and had that on my bucket list. And so Babbel makes it really quick, really convenient, 10-minute lessons that are handcrafted by over 200 language experts. They're trying to get you relatively conversational in as little as 3 weeks, designed by real people for conversations. Studies from Yale, Michigan State University, and others continue to prove that Babbel is better. And there are over 16 million subscriptions sold. So Babbel is awesome. Here's a special limited time deal for our listeners. Right now, you can get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for podcast listeners at babbel.com/podcast. Get up to 60% off a babbel.com at babbel.com/podcast, spelled BABBEL.com/podcast. Rules and restrictions may apply. Thank you so much to Babbel for sponsoring this episode.
Say that 3 times fast. Babbel is better.
Babbel is better. Babbel is better. Babbel is BABBEL.
Dios mío.
Hi, Dios mío. Porque why? It's just why, I think.
Yeah, porque why. I
don't know where I got that from, but I say that. Like in real life, I say it on stream, I'm always like, porque why? And someone in chat the other day is like, what are you saying? That just says why? And I'm like, I never really thought about it, but it does mean why.
You gringos.
SMH my head, rip in peace. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Now to the juicy stuff. We got another patch today. Well, first of all, the hustle event where all the bosses were on Shoreline, they moved that to reserve for the last few days of it, which was hell because I already hate reserve, and all the bosses on reserve, I don't think I survived a single raid. Then they
Par for the course.
Par for the course. I lost 70 million rubles during that event.
Go.
Now, I'm not poor. I had 270 million rubles and I now have 195. But like that should just give perspective on how that event went. It was just pain and suffering, death, destruction. I have 400 clips of me dying to Killa. Like I was just non-stop. And you didn't get any insurance back because the map was just flooded with scavs, too. It was
terrible.
It was wild. So they ended that event and then they were like, hey, we're doing 2 more patches, like another dual patch where it's an arena patch and a Tarkov patch on the same day. We're doing another one of those. That was this morning. I has the patch notes. They added the loot boxes to arena. That's not what they're called, but that's what I'm calling them.
But that's what they are.
An equipment crate, which contains various chest rigs, armor, helmets, helmet attachments, ballistic plates, headsets, and masks. Weapon crate, which can contain various weapons, including pistols, melee weapons, weapon attachments, grenades, and ammo. Supply crates, which contain various barter items required for crafting and upgrading the hideout, as well as medicine, stimulants, food, and water. And valuables crates, which can contain various valuables and expensive barter items, such as keys, key cards, and info items. Loot crates are initially locked and are obtained for completing daily and weekly operational tasks and escape from Tarkov Arena. So you can only get them in Arena. You can only open them in Tarkov. By the time I hopped on this morning, Glorious had gotten one. I think he did a few of his dailies and cycled them and got one. Once again, in a world where Arena is fun to play, grinding this out all day or all week and like grinding through missions and getting like 10 of these and then doing like an unbox stream would be sick. But I don't want to play Arena. So, and then I heard what he got was like nothing. What I heard he got was like toilet paper and a wrench, like, which, whatever. But the big juicy thing we got today was the adjusted ballistic plate colliders. They did the armor rework.
I heard about that.
The armor rework. All ballistic plate colliders in the same zone are now the same size. Various ballistic plate formats, like the granite, the sappy plates, the granite 4, and the Corin plates, will protect identical surfaces on the thorax. The front ballistic plate collider has increased width and height, added collider covering the collarbone area, added colliders covering the armpit area at the chest level. The back ballistic plate collider was increased in width and height, and the side ballistic plate collider was increased in width and height as well.
I think you can see.
Did you see Nikita's tweet?
With the hitbox?
Yes.
So it was like a short video?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just so funny because like that right there, that's always what I've pictured. The hitboxes were like similar to that. And when you look at it that way, you just get so much more. Maybe I can pull it up while I'm talking. You just get so much more of an understanding for all of the weird things,
dude,
that like if you get shot here, you would like expect it to like hit the armor, but like it doesn't. Like it hits the thorax but doesn't penetrate the armor. Well, yeah, that's because it doesn't cover your whole thorax.
Yes.
But I'll pull up that
Yeah.
So that we'll have visual.
Nikita's, yeah, I think it was tweeted to Nikita's personal Twitter, not the like Tarkov one or anything. But yeah, when you see the old one, you really start to see how many holes there were in the armor. You know what I mean? How many different places you could get armpitted directly, like someone could be shooting directly at you, 45 to the side of you, 90 to the side, 45 behind you, directly behind you, like 180 degrees on either side, which means 360 degrees around you, you can get hit in an armpit. You know what I mean? And so the visual, I think, helped a lot to kind of see, you know, the back plate goes lower and higher as opposed to just up top at the back.
Yeah, I mean, like,
yes, that's your thorax, right? Right there.
So what I want to know is all of the people that said my armor's broken. I got one shot in the thorax by a bullet that shouldn't one shot me.
It was
through.
all this. Correct. You're right. Armor has been working. There were some bugs.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Let's not get
okay.
This is just what this is 150 new examples where the thing you're malding about that you want, the system that you're demanding that they change is not at fault for the thing that you're talking about, A. And B, the whole idea of, like, you know, how often I, you know, would get told how these systems are broken or they don't work. And then I would, you know, we'd do testing. And then you would see all of the people who would do testing with good intentions, but what you're dealing with is a camera with an FOV, with a scope, with a height over bore. Everything's just imprecise enough that you don't know exactly where the bullet is going, right? You never know really exactly where the bullet's going. So, like, I remember, was it Airwing when he was doing, like, the armor hitbox stuff? And I just remember being like, it's so much more, like, it's so, they don't give you the ability to test it in a way that you should be, like, super confident about. So I think maybe I'd have to go back and watch those original things, but I wonder how many of those, like, this result that shouldn't happen, quote unquote, shouldn't happen, was really just a misunderstanding about the hitboxes.
It was a little bit of everything. When the wipe happened and the armor change happened initially, there were genuinely some bugs, some things we were seeing that we didn't expect to see that were then changed. That
like the plate taking damage and the underlying armor not, or
exactly, and like getting shot in the front and the back plate taking damage and the front plate not taking damage, like a bunch of weird stuff like that. I will say though, this is one of those times where armor being broken kind of became the colloquial thing. I definitely can't say all, but most people were aware that this was what was happening. It just became, it's like the thing to say that armor is broken, because most people understood it was the armor system that was broken, not like the actual armor. Now, there were definitely a lot of people that got caught up in that. People say armor's broken, then they get shot by, you know, T-46, Class 5. They think that their actual armor's broken, or that an ammo is then broken, like this ammo's double penning, you know. There was,
or fragmentation's broken
exactly,
again, or
there was definitely some of that. But I would say most people, as a result of some of those armor test videos from like Airwing and some of the other people, most people understood that that was how it was working, and just didn't like that that's how it was working, right? You know, I'm risking an armor, I'm spending money on this, I'm doing my thing, and it's not protecting me. And it's not protecting me. You know, we've talked about this before, but I think it's worth talking about it again. Headshots are like a universally accepted thing because it requires skill to hit a headshot. So it's like, okay, I spent the money on this armor. That guy hit a nasty shot and hit me in the face. Sweet, like fair enough. You know, you played your cards right. You got the headshot. The armpit hitbox, the collarbone, the neck hitbox, the throat hitbox, those things, nobody's aiming for the armpit. It was just spray and pray, and you would sometimes get lucky and hit someone in an armpit and bypass their plates completely. you know, the soft armor was most of the time class 2 or class 3, so you can rip through that really easily. And you know, and it just didn't do anything. And so I kind of want to go through this a little bit because you know, there's obviously a lot of response to this change. Because what I see is that most people can only compare something to like one version earlier. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? They can only say what it used to be like was just yesterday. It wasn't what we had before that, and it almost never considers the future, because most reasonable people don't, like, even for BSG, most reasonable people don't even, like, yeah, we all know BSG, it's funny, they never get anything right on the first time. I think most people would think in a perfect world, it would be hard to get some of these things right the first time. So like this might be a good change, but now we might need to change the availability of some ammos or the availability of some plates or some armors, right? Like whatever. But I think people they can only ever compare it to what it was yesterday. And yesterday I was able to buy this cheap gun and kill this Chad, and now I can't, and that's a bad thing or whatever. I think it's just like important to go through some of these things again. One being, and genuinely, I explained this 2 times today on the podcast. Sorry, not on the podcast. This is the podcast on my stream. And both times had people that came in hostile about the armor changes go, you know what? That makes a whole lot of sense. So we should do it again. The reason that physicalized armor plates that only protect physically what they represent doesn't work in Tarkov is because Tarkov's health system is not realistic. So creating one aspect of the game in a more realistic way can create very unrealistic results because other aspects of the game don't match it. So in real life, my thorax doesn't have an amount of HP, right? I have organs and I have blood, and we've all heard stories of people getting shot 11 times in the thorax and living. And we've all heard, know that sometimes you can get shot once in the heart and die. But because Tarkov's health system didn't match the realism of the armor system, if I got shot in the belly button by the right round, 2 rounds of M80, I'm falling over dead. The armor doesn't cover that because in real life, armor just is there to cover like vital organs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that, they could have gone 2 directions with it. They could have gone the gray zone warfare direction and completely overhauled their entire medical system to make organs and blood loss and concussions and all that kind of stuff. Or they could make this simple change to the armor that ends up being more consistent, results. And then
I wonder.
Go ahead.
I wonder if I just wonder if they could have implemented it even simpler without even having armor hitboxes at all.
I think they could have. I think there's a few
it could have just
different
been
ways.
like, if you get hit in the chest, it's like, is their chest armor?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't have to.
And that is how it used to be, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But like, because armor just covered everything, it was just like when you got shot, it was just, is there an armor or not? And then
I don't know. I mean, so you're basing that off of the way it behaved.
Yeah.
Not based on. So it's possible that they just had like 27 polygons all
True.
overlapping.
True.
So there was no spaces in between.
Could be.
Or it could have been there was a few little polygons of space in between that, 1 out of every 1,000 shots would go through. And
you're right.
This happened. It should never happen.
We know how it works now. And so it's tempting to be like, well, it didn't used to work that way, but maybe it did. We never knew how it worked before. Yeah. We know how it works now because they tweeted the actual video and whatever.
And I know at some point we did know. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
Every version, every iteration of the way that things work.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
But anyways, I agree with you that there's different ways they could have done it. This might not have been the way I would have done it, but I still see it as a huge step in the right direction. And then there's like another thing that I think, I want to kind of address, which is that, so the armor change was useless then. because we're just going back to the way things were. And once again, maybe you just came in this wipe, you know what I mean? Or maybe you only played a little bit. What we still retain is the separation of the armor hitbox zones. So now, like, if I have an armor that, you know, covers my shoulder, it doesn't go all the way down to my finger. You know, it actually goes where it stops. We have swappable plates, which can be hot swapped in raid. We have soft armor underneath, which is, you know, air mid. We now maintain the ability to get shot in one plate, it take damage, and have our other plates still, like, right? Like a Gen 4 just used to have 80 durability. And if I got shot in the back and it took that down to 40 durability and I turned around to fight that person, my armor was just at 40 durability. Now, if I get shot in the back and my plate gets zeroed out and I turn and face that guy, what is facing him is full armor. So every single facet of the new armor system is still there, and it is still vastly different than the old armor system. It's just that now the plates are at a size where when you have purchased armor and are wearing armor, where that armor looks like it protects you, it just now protects you.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of the better parts of all of the busted ass systems.
Yes.
And I'm sure we'll still be flawed in some way. And
for sure. And it, like, people were saying like this was a nerf to, you know, people were like, you know, I was using an MP5 because I'm bored of using the same guns over and over again. And people were like, well, this was a nerf to 9mm and SMGs. Like, SMGs are going to struggle now because there are less places for those SMGs to like pen through like the soft. And I was like, you're not really wrong there. Like, there's probably some measurable amount of like, it's going to take more shots. But once again, my argument is you're not using an MP5 and then shooting at somebody aiming at their armpit. You're most likely aiming at their head, or you're just trying to like
center mass,
beam them center mass. So you're always either aiming for the part that you're probably going to kill them with, which is the head, or you're aiming for center mass, which is where the plate would have been in the past. What you're losing is just the ability to accidentally RNG kill them.
Yeah.
And my argument was SMGs were arguably OP because with the recoil update, SMGs are in a phenomenal spot. FMJ and APSX for the MP7 are amazing rounds. SS190 is an amazing round for the P90. Like 45 AP, you can buy that from the traders. That is a disgusting round. Like, the rounds
always was.
Yeah, the rounds are good enough with SMGs. Like, you're really just talking about 9mm and like Ketters and stuff like that. And at that point, I still just think, you know, shoot them in the head. You have no recoil. Like, that's kind of the thing, right? Is like, no gun should be the best at everything. Like, if you have an SMG, what you're rewarded with is no recoil at all. So I don't think I should be able to get lucky and 1 or 2 tap a guy with a class 6 or a class 5 armor on. I should either shoot him in the head or create enough space to shoot him just a bajillion times and kill him.
Yep.
Yeah, you can even buy PvP now. So that I kind of wanted to address those two things, which is that, so I guess the armor change was useless because it's not. We still retain all of the benefits, which that's what I argued when the armor system came into the game this wipe. I was like, 9 of the 10 things they added are so good and cool and actually valuable to the game. It's just the one thing that's not ruins everything. Like, the one thing that not, in my opinion, was a big enough deal that it ruined everything. And so them adjusting that one thing means the other 9 things we got are still in the game and are still cool and add value to the game. Like, it's cool going into Kiba, finding a class 6 plate that fits in the class 4 armor I'm wearing and swapping it. Like, that's a cool feeling. Yeah. I don't have to lug around a whole nother armor, a whole slick or a whole TV110 rig. I found a slick in Kiba the other day. I just pulled the 2 plates out. Put the 2.
And if your plates, and presumably you get your plates back.
You do. I insurance frauded my plates. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Like if you have an armor on the ground in the corner, it's a lot harder to put like a Gen 4 full, like
Yeah.
hide that in the corner of Kiba than like
Yep.
no one's gonna see a plate that you just chuck on the ground
Exactly.
in the corner.
Exactly. So all of that being said, the question is, because here's always where the rubber meets the road, and this is where I get a little nervous because I'm like, what if they made these changes and I don't notice? Like, what if I was just bad this whole time whiffing my shots, but I was blaming the armor system? You know what I mean? And I normally go into the stuff like really thinking, okay, I need to put some time into it to see if I feel it because I'm worried it's going to be placebo. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I feel pretty damn confident I felt a difference today. I was playing with no generals all day. Dude, so many times that I died, I was like, yo, I lived so much longer than I should have. And that is a cool feeling because even though I died, I lived long enough to like test my brain power to see if I'm smart enough to make a good move in that moment. I'm getting shot at. Most of the times I wasn't. I'm not good enough to like flick, do whatever, but it was just cool feeling like I had the time to try. I still died. And
so did you say overall TTK is higher?
Yeah, I would say significantly higher.
Oh my god, dude.
I know. Don't do it. Don't come back yet. Let it marinate a little bit.
No. I'm not considering coming back. It's the fact that I was very confidently convinced.
Yeah.
For a very long time that the game was would be so much better.
Yep.
With a noteworthily longer time to kill.
Yep.
And
here's my prediction too. Here's my prediction. This was already happening to me, and this is not me poo-pooing on the Tarkov community because I am participating in what I'm about to say. Here's my prediction. We have gotten used to killing people accidentally. We have gotten used to killing people the wrong way, which is just spray and pray and you hit an armpit. I think the reaction from a lot of people in the community is going to be that the TTK is way too high. But in reality, we're just missing 50% of our shots. Of the 50% that land, 40% of them hit an armor that just gets tanked because we're using mediocre ammo. And we're used to the other 10% of our shots hitting an armpit or a neck and killing the person. But now they're not. And so there were a few times today where I was with no generals and I was screaming into my microphone, am I using water balloons? Like, what? Why isn't this guy dying? Did we watch the clip back? And yes, I hit him, but I hit him 5 times in the thorax. Or once in the leg, 3 times in the thorax, and then his helmet ricocheted one. And I go, oh, I shot 20 bullets. I only hit him 5 times. I'm used to that 5th one killing him in the armpit. But the TTK is longer now. So I think the TTK will be perceived to be higher than it is because of how many missed shots we have. My prediction is that people that prioritize semi-auto guns will actually have the best TTK because those are the people that are trained to hit their shots. And I think their TTK will go from 3 shots to 4 shots or 3 shots to 5 shots. But my TTK is going to go from 13 to 25 because I just full auto and I miss everything. You know what I mean? And so I think there will be a little bit of an overreaction because I was even doing that today where I'm like, dude, people aren't dying. I'm just I'm shooting all these shots. Watch your clips back, people. I bet you just missed more shots than you thought. And that was what was happening to me. No Generals was fragging like 8 PMCs per round, and I felt like I couldn't kill anyone. And it's because I'm used to just being a full auto Andy. And I think I didn't realize how much I had gotten used to the random accidental kills.
Yep.
So be on the lookout for that. If you're listening to this and if you're playing, try Yeah, no, I don't miss it. Reg is just terrible. That's also probably true. No, so that's my prediction, is that there is going to be a little bit of an overreaction. It's kind of expected. But I really do think that it felt better. It just felt better. The TTK felt longer. It felt good. You can still headshot people. You can still one-tap people. You can still mag dump people. All the things are still there. You know what I mean? It still maintains the Tarkov, which is that you can get one-shot headshot from anywhere. You know what I mean? People were coming in complaining about the TTK being too long, and then like 3 raids in a row, I died to the first bullet out of my enemy's gun. The first bullet out of my enemy's gun. And I'm like, this is the Tarkov, right? Like, this is the thing we don't want them to get rid of, but just don't get it twisted. Them adjusting the armor here doesn't get rid of this. Like, you can still fall over dead anytime from anywhere. So, yep. So, so I am excited for the armor rework. We will see how it goes. There's a few quick other things to talk about in the armor and in the Tarkov sphere. But before we do, I do want to take a quick second and thank the third and final sponsor for this episode, and that is Chubbies. Chubbies is a company that does bathing suits. They do all sorts of loungewear. They do shorts. They do shirts, all sorts of stuff. And it is been great. They sent us some stuff. I'm literally wearing my shorts all of the time. I've been swimming with the kids. We use it all the time. They're all sorts of crazy colors, crazy designs. They fit really well. They're made out of high quality material. It has actually been, I'm looking at my whole wardrobe differently now, because I'm like, I look like an idiot in all these shorts now that I have like a nice pair of shorts. You know what I mean? I just wear like baggy basketball shorts, and then I put on this nice pair of khaki shorts, and I'm like, oh dang, man, I need some shorts.
Yeah, I was rocking the Chubby's outfit a couple days ago. Someone literally was like, "Hey, dude, what's up with the polo?" It's like, I left the house today, man. Like, you know,
come on, give me something.
And my wife came down. She's like, "You look good as hell." You know, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm not wearing pajama pants today like I am normally.
Yeah.
It's been too long since I've had some nice quality clothes that are comfortable.
Yep.
But also make you feel good.
Dude, the shorts are so stretchy.
I didn't know that the shorts had like kind of an elastic waistband.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, oh, that's a little weird. And then now it's like I never want to wear.
Yeah.
I never want to wear, because, you know, I'm gonna be 36 this year, you know, and it's like going to every now and then I go to put on some pants and I'm like, oh no, I am the meme of the like guy who like doesn't like no, and I never have to deal with that.
It's the ones that they sent us are literally the perfect combination of like, they have belt loops, and so you can, you know, fancy them up, but there's just enough stretch in there that make them comfy to like lounge in and just like run to the store real quick or whatever, and, you know, not have to feel like, perfect combination. So you can experience unmatched comfort and style with Chubby's iconic original stretch shorts. You can also decide how much thigh you want to show. There's 4-inch inseam, 5.5-inch inseam, and 7-inch inseam, however much you want. Tons of different styles. They've got the Friday shirts, which feel really good. They look really good. I got the, what was it called? The French toast sticks was what I got. Oh, dude, that one's fly. They've got the classic line swimsuit. I think that's kind of like how they bursted onto the scene with their swimsuits. And then they have a ton of other things as well. They're lightweight. Anti-chafe liner protects your boys all beach season. So Chubbies is great. Whether you're getting dressed for your workday, a workout, or a weekend getaway, Chubbies has you covered. For a limited time, Chubbies is giving podcast viewers 20% off your order with code PODCAST at chubbiesshorts.com. That's code PODCAST at chubbiesshorts.com. Support our show and tell them we sent you. Don't blend in with the crowd. Stand out with Chubbies. Thank you so much to Chubbies for sponsoring this episode. So basically the last few things were like, with the armor changes. Oh, that was right. The armor changes, they came into the game, and now it's like, Oh yeah. I was coming back around to that where nobody really considers like the future or where things need to be. Yes, I do think that now with the changes to armor, they probably need to look at. I mean, I've been saying this, we've been saying this for years anyway, but they probably need to look at what you can buy off of the not the flea market, what you can buy from the traders. Like,
Again,
I mean, we've said that 5 different times for 5 different reasons. They have never, not once, actually taken a look at the traders and adjusted them. So, but like, you can get, I mean, just off the top of my head, 2 Begaries or whatever they're called. You can buy Korans. You can barter for a Rita. You can barter for a Defender. You can barter for a Tasmanian. You can barter for a Thor. You can barter for the Osprey. So it's like 10 to 12 class 5 or 6 armors per reset. And if it's
how much are they?
And if it's a barter, anything you can just buy off the flea market. They're like anywhere between like a Defender, which is a class 5 armor. It's one of my staples. You can buy it's a barter for 1 sledgehammer. Sledgehammers are 120k in the flea market. Yeah. The Rita you can barter for about 170k.
What's the Rat Rig? Is it class 3 or 4?
The Rat Rig was class 4.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that's like 80,000 rubles now.
I was going to say those were like 80k.
And for 120, I can get a Defender, which is class 5. Yeah. The Osprey rig, which is like the new TV 112, the new TV rig, because it's armored rig, but it's like better in every conceivable way. It's an armored rig that has shoulder protection, neck protection, side protection, front back protection, class 5 plates, class 3 aramid as opposed to class 2 aramid. It's a huge rig. It's got a 2x2 in it, so you can put like a helmet in it. And you can barter for one of those from Peacekeeper for like, depending on what the SSD drive's for, but anywhere between like 150 and 300k, depending on what the barter's for. You can buy one of those. So, and then that doesn't even factor in that you can just like buy from proper like level 6 plates for some of the armors, level 5 plates for some of the armors. So you can craft, you know, the one that got really popular for a long time, the AACPC. It was like the green, I don't know. It's another class 5 rig. You can craft those. So you can get one of those as well. So they probably do need to look at the access to class 5 or 6 plates. At this point, we don't really know. I don't know what their like intention is. Do they want everybody running around in the best armors in the game at the end of the wipe and then just like kind of inflating the time to kill that way? Maybe they do. I don't know. If they don't want people running around with the best stuff, then I think they need to take a look at how much of the best stuff we can buy. Because right now we can just buy a ton of the best stuff. And once again, barter is a useless term because barter equals just buying it with one extra step, which is just buying the things for the barter off the flea market. You know what I mean?
And also now you can get more stuff. Like the last time I played, you could buy less on the flea market and less from the traders. And then we were saying there needs to be less available. So
yes, I see what you're saying. And you're right. Yeah. There's just a lot. There's a lot. So we'll see. Same thing with ammo. Like I think some people brought that up, which is, you know, they should also take a look at what ammo. I found it funny. Somebody in chat was like, what did he say? He said, they really need to let me buy more 50 plus pen ammos if they're going to make class 5 armors feel good. And I was like,
excuse me?
I was like, what do you want? Like, what you're saying is they should just get rid of armor. Because if you're saying if they're going to make class 5 armors viable, I need to be able to buy a ton of 50 pen ammo, then the armor isn't there anymore. If everyone's got 53 pen ammo and everyone's got level 5 armor, nobody has armor. So
yeah, so wait, they're saying if you want the you want the armor to feel good, then you need to give my enemies the thing that makes my armor not good.
exact, but I just don't think that he's thinking. I think he's thinking, I want to be able to kill people fast and complain when I get killed fast. Like, I don't think he's thinking that full circle where if they make 50 pen ammo available, then the other people buy it too. And I've got class 5 armor on.
He wants Misty to have only water Pokemon, and he has a bunch of just Raichus.
Yeah.
And he wants that to be the way the game works.
I think that it does. What I think is interesting about that comment, though, is that I find it...
The Raichu comment?
Yes, the Raichu. Well, is that I find it a little crazy. But...
That I said Raichu, the worst.
Yeah, I think it is indicative of a kind of a fundamental misunderstanding, but I don't even think there's an understanding to be missed. I think a fundamental lack of understanding about what BSG wants the relationship between ammo and armor to be like. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I don't know, even after 6 years of playing the game, like, is there a quick hand? Is there a shorthand? You know, we want everybody to have an average of level 5 armors and an average of level 35 pen ammo. Obviously, that's not how they think about it. But when I say that, you as the viewer understand what I mean. You go, oh, okay. So, like, nobody gets one tapped in the armor. You know, headshots are really valuable, flanking, whatever. Or if I said we want the average armor to be level 4 and we want the average pen of ammo to be 47. What you think in your head is so different. You're like, oh, well, we're all just going to die super quick. So I know that there isn't a shorthand for that, but his comment just got me thinking about, like, what do they want that relationship to be? Do they want very high tier ammos to be accessible from the trader? Do they want very high tier armors to be accessible from the traders? How accessible do they want those things? Like, his comment was a little off the rails, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know how to balance the ammo availability because I don't know what you want the game to feel like.
Yeah, in order to solve the problem, you need to know what's the outcome you're looking for.
Yes. And I think that comment just got me thinking about that again, where specifically around what is available and accessible to purchase at any given moment from a trader. What do you want that relationship between ammo and armor to feel like? Because I think that's why the experience feels so flat so often, because I can buy 3 MDRs per reset. I can buy a bunch of M80 and M62 per reset, and everyone's wearing class 5 armor. And so the experience just feels relatively flat because it all kind of feels the same, you know? So
like the Earth.
Yes. Just like the Earth. So I wish they would talk about that, define that a little bit. Once again, I actually think a lot of individual elements of this are in maybe some of the best states they've been in. Gun variety is probably in the best state it's been in since like 11.7, because we have, with the recoil updates, we have so many guns that are fun and usable. The AUG is like my favorite gun to run when I'm dying all day because it's cheap and it's a laser beam and I don't have to mod it much. And I would have never said that before. The AUG sucked wiener. You know what I mean? So there's gun variety. Something that we didn't talk about with the armor changes. Literally like half of the armor in the game went from unusable to usable with this change. Because a bunch of the armored rigs had such small plates and class 2 aramid that they were class 5 armors, but scav buckshot would just one tap you nonstop. And so now that the class 5 part of it, like the TV 110 went from the most used armor in the game to, I haven't seen maybe 3 of them all white. The CPC rig, the Tarzan rig. There's a bunch of rigs that went from basically completely unusable to just like at least back on the menu, which is nice. So I don't know. It's interesting. Is all I have to say. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And then really the last thing in Tarkov land is just I've been seeing a lot of people asking the question, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Do I think that the PvE mode, basically raids have been kind of dead since they ended the event. Now you and I know that 5 months into a wipe, raids are always dead. But because they released the PvE mode this wipe, I keep being told that there has been an exodus of players to PvE, and it's ruining the game because nobody's playing the PvP mode anymore, and that's why the raids are dead. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where it's like, if the PvE mode is what kills Tarkov, it will be the straw that broke the camel's back. It will not be a wrecking ball. You know what I mean? Tarkov has enough players. It has enough people interested in it. It has enough people that want to play the game. So many aspects of the game are not fun. And so I just don't see it that way. You know what I mean? I don't see it as like, this is the reason raids are dead. It's just late wipe. And there's no reason to play the game late wipe. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yep. I mean, that's the cycle.
Yeah.
Continues.
Yeah, exactly. It's like we've been here before.
Except for the actual cycle. Rest in peace.
Oh yeah.
That cycle absolutely
did not continue. Yeah. I don't know.
Too soon.
But I don't know. That's all the Tarkov stuff. Anything out of like the PC game show or the Summers Games Fest? I don't know what they're all called. I don't know what's going on. Anything catch your eye?
I didn't even know they happened.
Yeah.
I've been like in la la crazy land.
Yep.
And then I sleep. I fall asleep watching Hikaru play chess, and then I wake up. Bro, I have to say, okay, me and my wife, we both just fall asleep with our laptops, like watching whatever, right? Okay. My doesn't autoplay when it's done.
Correct.
Hers, she's watching on like Hulu or whatever I'm telling you, she watches what I think has to be the worst possible show to be on like repeat, like over and over and over. You know, the next episode autoplay.
Yep.
Survivor. And then just like the
yeah.
Time for the final challenge, and then like all the it's like,
dude, good old Jeff.
And when you're half awake, hearing that is like, I just end up fever dreaming.
Autoplay when you know you're gonna fall asleep with the laptop, that's criminal behavior.
Yeah, and her superpower is being like, and I'll like reach over and just like pause, eyes open, like like fuck, and she's like, like fucking play.
What?
Like I was watching that.
Oh my!
You weren't. Jumanji-ass Nightmares is exactly it.
Oh yeah.
Between just like, she literally watched Jumanji, not too long ago, but the one with the Rock, which I didn't know was a thing.
Yeah. That made me think of something else.
And this is maybe for the Patreon, but I have like, I feel as though I have developed a phobia of like the ocean and like the wild, like I went from, I mean, we used to go scuba diving and all kind. Now I'm like, not scuba diving, sorry, like snorkeling. And I'm like, I feel like watching this like the random going down like a YouTube short rabbit hole or whatever, watching a few of those, I don't think I would want to go snorkeling anymore.
Nope.
just seeing all the people getting like, oh, there's just a shark or an alligator or like everything wants to kill you at all times the moment you set foot in the ocean.
How about
And
no? Yeah.
I went from being totally fine in the ocean to now I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm afraid of the ocean
Yeah.
now. And it's all because of YouTube shorts.
I have always like, dude, when I was a kid, I used to be able to freak myself out in a swimming pool. It's just this like, it's not my domain. You know what I mean? I am not natural. I am not natural in the water amongst creatures that are. It's that power dynamic that freaks me out. It's not just sharks. Like if a freaking dolphin swam up to me, it would freak me out because it's just, this is his house. It's not my house. And if something happened, if that dolphin wanted to nibble, I can't get away. You know what I mean? So yeah. The ocean freaks me out, man.
There's just a dude chilling on like, are they the paddle boards that you like stand up on?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he turns around and there's just what are the whale shark things? Black and white
Orcas?
Yeah, just nibbling on his thing.
No.
And he's like, it's just ocean, and like he's like an hour paddle away from the shore. and he's just standing on a board with those things, a killer whale, right?
Yeah.
You don't f around with killer whales. And I'm just like, oh,
bro.
Oh, you just die now,
Have you seen the videos of orcas of killer whales putting the smack down on great white sharks?
Yeah, man.
It's like it defies physics. It circles it. They confuse them. Then they go out, and then they can just go from 0 to 100% of their speed with there's no wind up. They just go wham, and they break all its ribs. It can't swim away. They pull the liver out. They eat the liver and they leave the rest of it. They just want the liver.
What are they? Do you need the vitamin A or whatever?
They like them. It's crazy, bro. It is crazy. They're wild. So yeah, the ocean, man. I'm fascinated by it. We went to the aquarium. Ocean man. We went to the aquarium when I was up in Virginia. It's fascinating. I love it. I love seeing it. But like, you will not catch me out there. No, sir.
Yeah, bro. That holy like.
No, sir.
Oh my god, I've just seen too many. There was another one where there was just like two kind of like. This is literally just like how many like ocean things can Veritas name? Canoes, I think, maybe not kayaks, canoes, where there were like 2 or 3 people in each one.
Okay.
And they were like kind of holding on, like right next to each other, holding on, and it was just like, and all of a sudden they're just like, and you just see a giant shark, and it's just like,
no.
Why?
No.
Subject yourself to that. Stay on stay on land. You're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong. Yep. Yes, there was a time where the only way you could see that was to be in the ocean. Now we have televisions. You can see everything you want to see on the TV, on the phone. You don't have to get eaten by sharks. Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you. When you were talking about TV shows earlier, though, Jumanji and everything, they released, Apple TV released like just like a trailer for like this year on Apple TV.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed some Severance season 2.
Did they? I thought they canceled
it. They were writing it, and then it got held up by the writer's strike.
Right.
But they showed some of it, dude. Oh my god, I need it. That was like my favorite show.
I'm like
my favorite brand new show, like brand new IP in like many years. It was such a good show. So Severance season 2. I don't know when it's coming out.
A date or anything?
No. But the fact that they had like filmed and edited sequences of it, and it looked like they were teasing the story a little bit. Yeah, that season 2, Silo season 2. This month we got The Boys season 4, Hot D season 2.
Fog.
So many good TV shows coming out.
I stopped watching The Boys. Did you see The Boys season 2?
The Boys season 4.
Oh, I was gonna say, didn't they like have multiple seasons?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Hot D season 2. I love that Hot D.
No comment.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the stuff. This week, the flurfs are coming for Veritas. Tarkov armor stuff feels good. 1.0 is coming soon and we'll fix all our problems. And don't go in the ocean. Just don't do it. Unless you're on a cruise ship.
Did I tell you about the jellyfish attack? I'm not sure.
You
put that
got
in
attacked
stories
by a jellyfish? Or you witnessed an attack?
Spoilers.
Did you attack a jellyfish?
I had Smucker's jar of jelly and a fish. And I'll tell you what I did was illegal in 43 countries.
Jellyfish?
Jellyfish cruise
Jellyfish.
debacle.
Who's that guy? Jellyfish? Jellyfish.
Is that not Julian? Julie.
I keep wanting to say Julian Assange, but that's not.
That's not Julian like Jenna and Julian. The guy
No.
who did the Malk.
I made this for you.
I made this for you, Julian Smith.
Yes. He did the Techno Jeep video as well.
Jellyfish.
Jellyfish. Jellyfish. Jellyfish.
Jellyfish.
Yep. Wow. Julian Smith.
Throwback.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being a part of the podcast, fam. Once again, if you like this stuff and you want more of it, go to patreon.com/thepodcastpod. I am sorry we didn't post an episode this week. That was my fault. I was out of town. I know, it was my fault.
He said the patrons.
Yeah. No,
I was like, whoa, dude. Cancel Jesse.
Exactly. That's pretty much how it went down.
Exactly what happened.
But our episode this Monday will be extra special somehow, some way. But go check that
I
out.
won't wear pants.
Patreon.com/thepodcastpod. Once again, thank you to Factor Babble and Chubbies for sponsoring this episode. You guys are the best. Thank you for hanging. We appreciate you, and we will definitely see y'all on the next one.
Peace.